Welcome to Veterans in Transition. Each week we travel around the region highlighting veteran-related news, issues, and events. In this episode, White House correspondent Paul Brandus sat down with husband and wife vetrepreneur Marti and Stormy Mongiello, owners of a country inn named the Inn of the Patriots in Charlotte, North Carolina. Here's their story.
As you know, the former Walter Reed Medical Center is being redeveloped. A lot of opportunities, and we're going to talk today with two folks who have an idea to build a hotel, a conference center, a restaurant, all kinds of things. We're joined by two folks, both of whom are veterans, by the way, the husband and wife team of Marti and Stormy Mongiello. Welcome to you both. You right now, both of you, are involved with something called the Inn of the Patriots, which is down in North Carolina. Now, for folks who don't know what is the Inn of the Patriots?
We had this crazy idea, Paul, about 12 years ago to open up a country inn, and then that blossomed into also including a cooking school and the Presidential Culinary Museum, so it's been very successful.
But what do you want to do up here at Walter Reed?
We really want to expand, right?
Yeah, we're going to take that concept and move it into more rooms and then a bigger cooking school, more of a retail space, and also have restaurant, focused on presidential menus and bringing in chefs that worked within presidential service. And working in the White House and the different entities such as Camp David, and then also chefs that would travel with the presidents. There's different lines there. It's not only the White House chef, so there's different ones that serve the president throughout the career.
Well, you did that yourself. You're a former presidential. Tell me about that.
Yes, I was super lucky, Paul, to be nominated to work at the White House Military Office. And this is where I was first apprised of the fact that we have two restaurants underneath the Oval Office. And I mentioned to my commanding officer, I have no idea what you're talking about, Captain. Can you say that again, sir? He said, two restaurants underneath the Oval Office. I was like, okay, sir. So he said, but that's not where you're going to work. I'm going to send you to work at the Camp David Resort on top of the mountain. The Navy runs that as well, and we do the West Wing service. And we have tasters who fly around with the president worldwide. And we also run the entire vice president's home at the end of Embassy Row in the Naval Observatory. And I was like, oh my goodness, sir. So I'm going to be nominated for this, and off I went. And a year later, I started doing that job, Paul.
So this is the experience then that both of you hope to bring to Walter Reed. But how do you go from a country inn in North Carolina to a much bigger hotel? I think you're talking about more than 200 rooms in the middle of the nation's capital. Stormy, how do you do that?
We both have experiences in running hotels and restaurants. Marti has run up to a 1,500 room hotel, so that's that's not beyond his scope of management. And I have experience of in my human resources experience of up to 600 employees. So 230 rooms is at one property under one roof is not beyond our capabilities.
So what you're talking about here would still be named the Inn of the Patriots.
Yeah, we celebrate patriots, and that's our big thing. And the other one, of course, is creating not only jobs for veterans and people who are living on site at the proposal that we have for the parks, but incubating veteran-owned businesses. So we have about 20 of those scheduled.
That's one thing that both of you I know are big on, is not just hiring veterans, but getting them to start their own businesses. Quite a challenge. Tell me how you do that.
Yes, I mean, we have noticed, particularly from the Bush Institute studies and the Bush Foundation W, did a long, exhaustive 2-year study into that. And were our veterans actually really, Paul, more successful in having a job or in starting a business? And so we have also found this is directly correlative towards preventing suicide, because a lot of veterans are disillusioned. So what the end result of that study was, and President Bush had a lot of doctors on that tribunal and everything, was that veterans actually are quite more successful than their civilian counterparts when they own their own business or own their own franchise. It can be as much as 3 to 4% more successful and earn more money when they're running things.
What makes veterans better entrepreneurs and better employees? What makes the difference?
Yeah, I think some of the qualities that they learn in being part of it, even though they learn the teamwork, they are responsible for their own actions, and they're used to being able to do that. And then sometimes even with the civilian world, with the job structures of some companies, people maybe not fit into that as much, and they have somewhat of an independent spirit and wanting to control their own destiny, so to speak, with being an entrepreneur, and they're used to working tirelessly to meet goals, and so they're able to do that. And I just think that it is a great thing that they are able to bring those certain skills that they learned in the military to bring it to their own business.
But as they transition out of the service, though, into civilian life, there are still going to be challenges when starting a business, financing and location and hiring. Tell me about some of the challenges and how do they overcome them?
Yeah, and we offer, we have offered mentorships to other veterans who are starting their own business. And so we've gone through the process ourselves of starting up a small business in 2008. So we can help with some of those roadblocks and things in regard to financing, in regard to marketing, in regards to business plan. There are several programs out there, but sometimes being the conduit to connect all those to the veterans that come to us.
Yeah, it can be very daunting, and so Stormy and I have been all through that, as she mentioned. Like, what does it take to actually get an SBA loan? Right. And have you had one before? I'll often ask bankers that. Have you ever had an SBA loan and owned a small business? And when they typically say, no, I haven't, we just paid off an SBA 7A loan about 20 years early. We know what it's like to have one, to have two anvils on your shoulders. I often will mention to people, in the beginning, we worked 126-hour work weeks. I know I did, and people are incredulous. They say, You did what, son?
Yeah.
100 and how did you do that, boy? I'm like, well, I'm not your son and I'm not a boy, but that's okay. 18 times 7, it's 126, and you sleep for 6 or 5. I mean, that's what it takes. And as Stormy mentioned, when you're in theater in the desert or the jungle, and I've been to both, it's pretty much switched on 24/7. It's not 2 days off a week or. So you have those faculties to physically call upon, and mentally you have that warehouse to reach into and assets. I've already done this, but I'm not at war anymore. I'm at war with myself. I've opened up a business. Let's do this. So you have a lot of resources to draw upon, Paul.
And it's the skills and the mindset that both of you have, and that's clearly given both of you an edge in terms of what you've done. Now, beyond the inn of the Patriots itself, 230 rooms, you said a conference center. Tell me briefly about that, and also the restaurant. And I know that one thing you do, I find this fascinating, is you have menus from all of the presidents, and you're going to actually serve meals from all the presidents?
So Andre Rush, who is our star chef, heavily featured all across TV and media, he seeks to run the Hail to the Chef restaurant, which features all the president's menus. And so you're exactly right. It's and who's ever done that before? So this is one of the things that companies like Heinz International and Cushman and Wakefield and C.B. Richard Ellis, who has helped us so much here in Washington, we are hopeful that they will accept our proposal to do this. We believe in the power of Jeffrey Heinz and Gerald Heinz, who created Heinz, And one of the things their founder Gerald mentioned is his favorite person. Stormy was reminding me of this morning, is President Eisenhower, who lived at the parks inside the Walter Reed Hospital.
What touched you the most about that?
Oh my gosh, when we touched the door, Stormy and I, Heinz took us up with Cushman and Wakefield, and they said, this is where President Eisenhower lived. This is his house and suite. I was touching the doorknob. I was like, this is probably President Eisenhower.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's weird,
you get that
but
sense of history as you walk around, which is really interesting.
And, with the Walter Reed, that definitely ties in the through line of the Presidential Culinary Museum that we would be a part of as well. The menu, the Presidential Culinary Museum, and that would also tie together with the cooking schools and learning recipes of the presidents.
And why is that, Stormy? Because President Eisenhower is one of the most famous chefs as a president, and he was also a veteran. So the collaboration there was unbelievable.
He had a grill on the White House roof, in fact, and would go up there and grill.
And his beef stew is world famous.
Yeah.
Now, I've got about 2 minutes left here. Is there anything that I'm not asking that either of you would like to mention?
I always think female veterans are so amazing, Paul. So
We're looking at one right here.
Yeah, it is. It's a different experience. I served for 4 years in the Navy. And I've been out, but each of the things I learned in the Navy, as I keep mentioning, were a stepping stone to where I'm at. But somebody says, well, how do you go from being a helicopter mechanic to being an HR director, human resources director? But, some of the skills that I did learn still apply, even though if I'm not turning wrenches anymore. It is working together as a team to keep an aircraft going, working together as a team to keep a business going, and I'm playing that small part.
Well, I've been talking to both of you for a couple of years now, and it's just amazing not just what the two of you have done, but what you're trying to do as well. I mean, building a hotel and all of these things is just mind-blowing, but I know you're going to do it. I mean, if you can work 126 hours a week, it seems to me you could do just about anything. So I wish both of you all the luck in the world. But, luck is only a part of it. I think grit and determination are big things, too, and both of you have it. Our thanks to Marti and Stormy Mongiello of the Inn of the Patriots in North Carolina, but I have a feeling we're going to be saying Inn of the Patriots here in Washington before long.
Preparing the next generation of future global leaders as they pursue military and civil service, Correspondent Sean Leiner interviews a promising student who received a scholarship to attend VMI.
We have Mr. Wesley Barber from Henrico, Virginia. And Wesley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, yes. So I'm Wesley Barber. I attended Mills Godwin High School in Richmond, Virginia. I will be attending the Virginia Military Institute this coming fall, so a freshman.
We've known each other for a couple of years now. I think we first got introduced to Mr. Gene Scott. You were running for him, and your name came across, and then we got you to Mr. Gene Williams of the College Orientation Workshop. So looking back since we first met, going to Cal, then doing the Lunch and Learn, what's changed over that time?
After meeting Mr. Scott and Mr. Williams, it's really, and Cal in general, just really taught me how to be a leader, how to take charge in certain situations. For example, running track, or how, say, I would plan my day out, or if after Cal, I stopped procrastinating. So it really just gave me new perspectives on life, on education.
So now you earned a 4-year Army ROTC scholarship, understanding that your ultimate goal is to go into the Air Force. How do you see yourself now from 6 months ago and being prepared to start this fall?
So from now and 6 months ago, I think I've really expanded on, as a person, just how I handle situations, how I go about my day with work, or taking advantage of opportunities, whether it's learning something new or just studying up on something. I highlighted procrastination, but my time management really has just increased, and as well as that, reflecting on my day. I remember at our conference last September, one of the attendees discussed how important it was to take a reflection on your day and see what you've done and what you can achieve, and that's really just helped a lot in general.
Now, what do you be majoring at VMI, and how do you see that utilizing your major to go off and become an aviator?
So at VMI, I'll be majoring in international studies, and I will be taking Spanish at VMI. As far as that goes with aviation, I really love the world. I love seeing different cultures, learning about different cultures, understanding all of that. And for me to take international studies, I believe it'll help myself in broadening what I see in the world, or what I can see in the world.
So the day you got announced, you went on the computer, saw that you were a recipient awarded for your ROTC scholarship. What was that feeling like?
So I was really grateful. I was very excited. That feeling I was very happy for my mom, because I know that took a lot of weight off her back as a single parent, just working very hard for me.
So obviously you go through first year, you reapply for the Air Force ROTC scholarship. If that works out, then we switch over. And ultimately, what do you want to do, and how do you plan on giving back?
So ultimately, I want to commission into the Air Force as a pilot, and that's a 10-year active duty commitment. After the active duty, I'll most likely either stay active duty or go into the reserves and continue to fly commercially as well. And then, so as far as giving back, the next generation of aviators and the next generation in general is very important to me. I'd love to just kind of spread the passion for aviation for not just the military, but to other sites or other aspects of the industry, such as commercial aviation, general aviation. And I recently saw a news story about this African-American pilot who, in the Air Force, who stated that in his 17 years of flying, he has only flown with 2 other African-Americans. So that just kind of highlighted an important aspect of flying.
Correspondent Michael Black, one of the leaders of the Veterans Committee at the City Club of Washington, recently had an opportunity to engage one of his mentors, retired Lieutenant Colonel Chuck Harris.
All right, so Chuck, tell me why you went into the military.
Mike, that's a very easy answer. I will tell you it was my father. So I'm a second generation Air Force guy, and so my dad ran through, just at the highest level through the enlisted ranks.
Oh, nice.
And he retired only to jump right into the ministry full time.
Oh, man.
And just as a data point, he was chaplain at the largest jail facility in New York. So he's, in terms of being examples of humanity, he's one of the greatest examples I knew. So that was the impetus for me going to the Air Force Academy.
Okay, and then you served 20 years, right?
I did. I served 20 years.
Something.
Yeah, 20 years. During that time, had the privilege of serving the country, and whether it be buying advanced technology, satellite communications, to the Air Force selects one person in the contracting community every year to join the Office of Federal Procurement Policy staff.
Wow.
Under the current administration, and so I had the opportunity to do that back in the late 90s, and was honored to do that, and then also was honored to be commander in the Defense Contract Management Agency.
And then did that help you transition to what you are doing at Pyramid Systems? And tell me again, what's your job? I know you're high up.
Yeah, right.
What's your job there?
Yeah, high up is relative. I am absolutely dedicated supporter of just 2 wonderful people, Jeffrey and Sherry Wong.
Oh yes, I know that.
Right, who are owners of Pyramid Systems, and I serve as a senior vice president running their corporate operations. Okay. And pretty significant responsibility. And I say significant as defined by the clients that we serve. We're serving the Department of Homeland Security, USCIS, supporting the security exchange. And then I think a great point would be with FDIC.
Wow, that's kind of amazing. You did IT and communications as a young officer, then you transitioned into the contracting arena, supporting the Air Force, and then now you go full circle and you're doing that or something similar to that. You've built on that foundation of supporting the customers that you support at Pyramid Systems. Man, that is truly amazing. Once again, I mean, I thank you for leading the way and setting the example.
Well, I would say back at you, Mike. I mean, you've led since I've known you with excellence.
Oh, man,
Okay,
thank you.
service before self,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And just leading the way for those around you.
Now you mentioned our core values in the Air Force, and obviously we both live and breathe those, and that's one of the things that I definitely admire about you. And tell me one or two of the things that you do to give back, because I know that you do that, and that's something that you love to do.
Well, I would say beyond just leading, being a mentor, a serial mentor, I'll say.
Right.
I would say I spend quite a bit of time with the Red Cross.
Oh, that's right, and I've been to a
And,
couple of those events that you
Yeah,
work with.
it's all in the planning, and the objective is just to raise funds for the Red Cross. And
Yeah.
most people know, but it's it's all about disaster preparedness, supporting our veterans. I mean, their mission runs deep. Every major war, the
Right.
Red Cross is there. Every disaster, people don't realize how many fires we have, even in this city and around the country, where people are standing outside. They've lost all of their personal belongings, and there's the Red Cross with a blanket, a card to give them so they can help to make ends meet. So, one of the things I really enjoy doing in support of Pyramid Systems, because Pyramid is committed to the Red Cross, and so as part of that vehicle, I am honored to serve in raising funds for all of the worthy missions that the Red Cross has.
That's nice, and I have been a beneficiary of that and being a part of some of those fundraisers and those events, and so thank you for continuing to include me in those kind of things. I mean, that's awesome, man.
There we go.
Service before self.
That's it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Nice.
Empowering students through technology has been the mission of the Patriots Technology Training Center for 22 years. We traveled to Andrews Air Force Base for the 3rd Annual Aerospace Summit. Over 300 5th through 12th grade students from across the region had a chance to network with military and industry leaders to learn how STEM ties into career opportunities.
I'm the Deputy Assistant Commandant for Engineering Logistics at Coast Guard Headquarters. STEM is very important. There's nothing that operates in this world without STEM. We have automobiles that can drive themselves. That didn't happen overnight and it didn't happen by accident. That happened because of engineers. And you look at any avenue or look at any capability, whether it's military, civilian, all require STEM majors.
I'm very interested in medicine and psychology.
We brought in a UH-1N helicopter, one of our gas turbine engines, and a few parts and pieces to open up to the community and to allow them to ask questions and show interest into some of the things we do. Aviation stems from so many different avenues and options for people to take on and challenge themselves into technical trades and careers or as professional operators. When you have high tolerances and you're reading thousandths of an inch in regards to criteria, math and English is your bread and butter when it comes to aviation maintenance.
That's cool.
We have an F-16 simulator, and basically we run a competition, and the competition includes taking off, flying to different waypoints or points on the map, and then coming back and landing. And a lot of times this is the first time that young people have thought about flying and had the opportunity to experience flying a simulator. Most of us do not think about aerospace. There are hundreds of jobs under the aerospace program. If you are a geologist, you can do aerospace. If you're a historian, you can do aerospace. If you're a seamstress, you can do aerospace because the spacesuits are hand-stitched. There are a lot of things you can do. You just want to be a business person.
I learned how there's a bunch of different programs that are at my reach right now as I'm going into high school, and there are plenty of options I could do.
I would say the best part of that demonstration were the kids. So the first group we got, I think they were high schoolers, and they were great. So then the next group came, they were middle schoolers, and we're like, okay, we're gonna have to bring it all the way down to their level. Absolutely not. These middle schoolers they were asking some tough questions. Like, I was like, I don't know if they're in cyber school or it's just their generation, but they're very technical questions, like very technical questions. So we were super impressed, and we just got so many questions from the kids. And it was just really awesome to connect, and it was a great experience for us. Like, it felt like we were helping Patriot, but I think Patriot actually helped us because we were really able to just have fun and connect with the community in a way that we all hadn't done in a long time.
The ambulance, like, I like how they do different things, and it's different things in the ambulance, different buttons. And like when it's cold outside, there's a certain button you use to keep the person in the ambulance warm.
I always view this as an opportunity to give back, because I think, in order to grow engineers, you have to get to them early in life, and you can never start too early in terms of being an engineer.
That's all for this edition of Veterans in Transition. We ask that you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, everyone has a story to tell. Until next time.